bonjour. Welcome to the Dassault Systèmes campus. I know that some of you have already been here discovering some of our other passion for innovation projects. So let me introduce myself for those who doesn't know me. And, so my name is Mehdi Tayoubi. I'm in charge at Dassault Systèmes of what we call experiential strategy, and I'm leading also the Passion for Innovation Institute. And today we are going to talk about some of our Passion for Innovation Institute projects, why those projects have been done by Dassault Systèmes, which is a software editor working in the B2B field, and why Dassault Systèmes is really interested by all kinds of cultural project. And the D-Day, the project that we have done on D-Day, is one of those cultural projects. So I will begin the session by some overview about some other projects, the history about Passion for Innovation, what we are doing, how we use 3D technology, 3D simulation to understand the past, to preserve our memory, and to solve some problematics. And then I will invite Nicolas Serikov, who is the project manager who worked for a long time for the hard work on the D-Day project that we are going to discover deeply today. And then just after the session here in the amphitheater, we will go for the lunch and then to have some demo in our virtual reality center. We do some small groups in our virtual reality center, and you will be able, for those who doesn't know what is virtual reality, to really understand and feel and experience virtual reality and the confusion that we can make between reality and the virtual world. So, welcome. So for those who doesn't know Dassault Systèmes has nothing to do with Dassault Aviation. Dassault Systèmes has nothing to do with the planes. Dassault Systèmes is a software editor, and Dassault Aviation, who is doing plane, is a customer like many other customers in the world, like most of the car manufacturers in the world, most like Procter & Gamble, like people who are designing consumer goods, who are designing trains and everything. So that means that Dassault Systèmes is a software editor, a B2B software editor, that provides to the industry all the software, all the 3D experience platform, making them able to design, simulate all the operation of an industrial project. So I have here a short video demo showing you our traditional business, in 3D and in the industry. So you can see how today, in all the industries, and especially in the car manufacturing industry, you can design your car, you can design the manufacturer, the factory that is going to design your car, how you can simulate all the steps of what you are going to produce in real life. And the idea is really to use the virtual world as a kind of antechamber of the real world. Virtual world here is not a cartoon. Virtual world here is not for animation movies like Pixar. Virtual world here is the antechamber where you are going to test and simulate everything like in real life. So we integrate all the rules of the real life in this 3D experience platform to do all the mistakes in the virtual world, and just to be sure that when you go then into real production, that you are going to do right at the first time. So today, no one, and more industries in the world, so we work with more than 12 industries, from, as I told you, architecture, airplane manufacturer, or car manufacturer, to help them to imagine, to design, to simulate all their product in this virtual world. So that's why we say that Dassault Systèmes is a scientific company, because most of our people working at Dassault Systèmes, around 12,000 people in the world, are engineers, scientific, and their daily work is to integrate the rules of reality into those virtual worlds. And today, no one is still using 2D. More and more industries are using 3D for this kind of purpose. And this is how we change the world. That's why our tagline Dassault Systèmes is, if we ask the right question, we can change the world, because we help all the people, like this guy that you may know, we call him Iron Man, Elon Musk, who is changing the world for real, because he has some crazy project. That's the first time when he's talking about his crazy project, a lot of people think that he is crazy, but in fact, The world will change with crazy people that have crazy ideas, but we need the right tools, the right people, the right engineers to design and to manufacture what they need. So Elon Musk and Tesla, for example, who is revolutionizing the electrical industry for car, is using, for example, our software. That's why we say also that Dassault Systèmes is connecting imagination with the real world. Our job is really to be the dot, the point, making the link between what we have in our imagination, what we have discovered when we were kids in our science fiction movies or in our books, and this guy is transforming his dreams, his kids' dreams into reality. But today, if we want to change the world, if we want to make those dreams coming true, we need the right tools and the right engineers to do it, and we will be able to change a lot of things in the world with the right tools. I often say that the invention of those tools, of this virtual reality and simulation tools, are like the invention of the perspective in the Renaissance time. When they have invented the perspective and the new way to represent and to design the world, they have been able to make a lot of innovations in many fields, not only in the technical field, but also in the theater, in the scenography. It was another way to discover and to ask new kind of questions for the world. So seeing the world differently, adding new perspective to the world, is the way we do innovation, and that's why Dassault Systèmes is a company which is really passionate about innovation. So my team, in the experiential strategy team, in fact, is doing something, I want to say, quite fun. We are taking all the technology that exists within the company, the CAD software, the 3D experience platform, the simulation software, finite element analysis software, etc., to see how we can change things in the research, education, and cultural field. How we can use those technology to explore new fields. So that's why culture is not about just about fun. Culture is really key, even in a technological company like us, even in a B2B company, because with culture, with cultural problematic, we are obliged to ask also ourselves new kind of question. It's another way to open our mind. It's another way to generate innovation. And that's why we have decided to become a player also in the cultural field to see how we can innovate. And this has been, I want to say, discovered a little bit by chance in 2005. It was not in 2005 in our strategy to say that we can use cultural projects and produce cultural projects with our own tools. It was not the purpose, it was not an objective. In fact, in 2005, we decided to create a sponsorship program. It was at this time a sponsorship program only, not an institute, called Passion for Innovation, to say we have a lot of people with passions in the world, but maybe they need the right tools and the right people to help them to make their passion coming true. And at this time, we've met by chance by a guy called Jean-Pierre Houdin, who had a theory about how the Great Pyramid was built. So he came to see us and said, okay, another theory about the pyramid, but Dassault Systèmes has nothing to do with pyramids. What can we do with this guy? But he began to describe all the process about how we can build a pyramid. And we discovered, and we came to the conclusion together that building a pyramid is not so different than building the 777 for Boeing, or building a Toyota, or designing an industrial project. When you build a pyramid, you need workers, you need to be organized, you need to set up your supply chain, you need to understand the mechanical physics aspect to be able to lift some stones that are more than 60 tons, for example. So he described us his theory, and we said, okay, why don't we use our tools to simulate step-by-step Jean-Pierre Houdin theory, and to see if this guy is crazy or not, if this guy is right or not. And after 2 years, without any plan, we just helping him through this sponsorship program, we came to the conclusion that we had the third theory in the world which is working. If we want to rebuild today a pyramid exactly the same, with all the challenges of the pyramid, which is building a 146-meter high pyramid with a king chamber at 43 meters, with all the design that we have today, the only theories that help us to do this, that explain each step, is Jean-Pierre Houdin theory. So we are not saying that Jean-Pierre Houdin is right, we are just saying that, you see, with this kind of tool, with this kind of seeing the world and life with a new perspective, we can innovate even for a mystery that is 4,000 years, 4,500 years old. So everyone can have ideas, everyone can propose things, and this is how we generate innovation. So naturally, now the idea with Jean-Pierre is really to set up a mission in Egypt to verify some aspect of his theory, because his theory is really scientific. Because if Jean-Pierre is right, the internal ramp that he's describing in his theory still exists. So if we are able to discover the internal ramp, we are able to validate the whole process. So his theory is a real is a scientific theory. Unfortunately, as you know, there is a lot of things happening in Egypt, so it's taking us a long time to negotiate, to set up. We have all the scientific team around us. We have universities from Japan for technologies that can help us to see behind the stones. We have people from Canada with thermographic technology. So all the scientific mission is ready. We are just waiting for the final go from the Egyptian authorities. So let me show you a video about this Khufu project, which was our first project that make us understand that we can do new things in the cultural research and educational fields with the technology that we have at Dassault Systèmes. So let me show you this video about Jean-Pierre Houdin project.
The Khufu Pyramid, the last seventh wonder of the world, still standing. 5 million tons of stones, erected 4,500 years ago. It is the highest, biggest, and most enigmatic of all pyramids. In 2007, French architect Jean-Pierre Houdin revealed his theory to the world, solving the mystery of its construction. How did the Egyptians manage to build this 146-meter high pyramid without wheels and iron? According to the French architect, they built 2 ramps. The first, an exterior ramp, stood 43 meters high and was used to carry up the biggest stones and build the first 2/3 of the pyramid. Then, this exterior ramp would have been dismantled and its stones brought in through an internal ramp, which snaked its way up to the top. How did they manage to build the King's Chamber, located 43 meters high, with granite beams weighing up to 60 tons? Jean-Pierre thinks they used the Grand Gallery as a huge counterweight system to lift these beams to such a height. During a fact-gathering mission out in the field, Jean-Pierre and his friend Egyptologist Bob Breyer looked for new clues and evidence to bolster his theory.
Jean-Pierre, I understand the roll is rolling, the weights are sliding, but is there any evidence that this room was actually used?
I think if you have a closer look to the bench, on the vertical fence, we will find some grease, some scratch.
So the trolley, when it goes up and down, they had to lubricate it. They put grease,
yes.
And by going up and down it scratches?
Sometimes the trolley was
shaking a bit? Huh?
Just a small stone and
oh, pretty good. It looks like it was used.
Bob Breyer got special permission to climb the pyramid, and he visited an intriguing room on the northeast edge of the pyramid. Could it be the remains of the internal ramp? A room where the blocks would have been turned to continue to the next section of the ramp. So far, there is a lot of evidence to back Jean-Pierre's theory, some of the most important being the result of a microgravimetry survey done in the 1980s. Thousands of measurements were taken at a time, both inside and outside the pyramid. They do indeed show differences in density within the pyramid, which look uncannily like Jean-Pierre's helicoidal ramp. Also, a team of engineers from Dassault Systèmes spent 2 years testing his theory with scientific 3D simulation. Everything about it works. Nothing in his theory defies the laws of physics.
Ça aurait très bien pu se passer comme ça, vis-à-vis de la mécanique, tout colle, c'est vraisemblable, ça tient la route.
Now, a scientific mission using infrared thermography technology is being proposed to Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities.
La mesure qu'on vise maintenant, ce sont des indices directs. Donc,
the idea is not today to discover the whole story about Jean-Pierre Houdin, but I really love this project because it was the first one that we did. All the information about this project are naturally available, and we are interested by what we've done with Jean-Pierre from 2005 to 2011, and we are still working on this project with him. I want to say Jean-Pierre is a kind of godfather for our passion for innovation project. So it was our first one, the first project of Passion for Innovation launched in 2005. The first time we communicated about this project was in 2007. And at this time we were really surprised because we had no official reaction from the Egyptologists, because a lot of people thought that Dassault Systèmes was crazy to do things about pyramids, about Egyptology, and even the French archaeologists, which is a very special word, I want to say, they said, okay, you have nothing to do with Egypt. And we had no legitimacy at this time. They were right to talk about Egyptology, to talk about archaeology. But the first people who came to see us were Egyptologists from Harvard University and the Fine Art Museum of Boston. It was Peter Dermanuelian. And each time he came to see us and said, I don't care about the polemic, I don't care about Jean-Pierre Houdin theory. This theory is really interesting, and I have begun to teach this theory in my course. What I am interested in is the technology that you have, the kind of how this technology help us to do reverse engineering on our subject, on our work, and to ask us new questions and to make research evolve and to make new discoveries. And so we need your help, Dassault Systèmes, to see how we can change the way we teach Egyptology, how the way we do Egyptology. And me, as Peter Dermanuelian, at the Fine Art Museum of Boston and Harvard University, I have digitized for 10 years a lot of archives of the Giza plateau. You have done a tremendous work about the pyramid, but maybe together we can reconstruct the global Giza 3D plateau, and we can also revolutionize the way we teach kids at the university. Are you interested? So naturally we jumped in. We said, okay, let's work together and let's see what we can do together. And after 10 years, almost 10 years of passion for innovation in many projects, and I will show you some of the projects we are leading in the cultural research and education fields, I can say that now maybe we begin to have a kind of legitimacy in what we do, because we are passionate people, we love to have new kind of challenges, we love to bring our engineers in fields that they doesn't know, and this is how we create innovation. So the Giza 3D project has been launched in 2008, and it's the most accurate 3D representation today of Giza that help people from all over the world to navigate in this Giza 3D plateau, to discover all the tombs, to discover all the archives that have been digitized by Harvard and the Fine Art Museum of Boston. And I will show you a video of what we do today with Peter Dermanuelian and how we can teach now with those technology differently in universities and classrooms. And this will give you a test and a preview of how we can be the classroom of the future.
You're sitting in the Visualization Center at Harvard University, and this is a room where I teach Egyptology classes and we visit the Giza necropolis in real-time 3D space. The students come in, put on the 3D glasses, and travel to Giza without even buying a plane ticket. Well, in many of my classes, I'm giving traditional lectures, but when we bring them in here, everything changes, and they get to experience Giza in a new, virtual, and exciting way. So this complex-looking image is actually the 3D model underneath, and then superimpose all of the architectural and archaeological plans from the original excavators. We can turn these on and off and study the temple in any way that we want. If you go to Giza today, you won't see anything here. So we're bringing it to life in a way that's impossible, even at the site of Giza itself.
When I was a little kid, you know, I would read books and whatnot about ancient Egypt and see the pharaohs and the mummies. But whenever we go there, we actually put on the glasses and we actually get to see, in 3 dimensions, ancient Egypt. It's so cool.
Well, I've never been to Giza, so having the 3D images really helped me visualize what everything looks like and how it relates to each other. It gives you a comprehension that you can't get from just photos.
We put these glasses on, and it really feels like we're walking through the pyramids and walking into the tombs.
It was really cool to be able to see what everything might have looked like back then. Everybody is pretty impressed with this kind of stuff. It's not something that we have in any other classes here that I can think of.
But we were really able to meet history face to face.
You put on the glasses and boom, you're at Giza. Can you believe that?
First version of Giza 3D 2012, and each year we are releasing new monuments because I think that it will take us more than 3 years left to build everything according to all the archives that we have from Harvard University and the Fine Art Museum of Boston, and this is available also for naturally for all the general public online. So our ambition at Passion for Innovation Institute is really to make the wildest dreams come true, to try to make the wildest dreams come true, saying that there is no crazy idea. We have the tool to ask new questions, we have the tools to do simulation, and we have the tools to make all the mistakes in the virtual world. So let's simulate any kind of crazy ideas, and let's see if we can transform those crazy ideas into reality. In 2005, when we met with Jean-Pierre Houdin, I want to say maybe the tagline could have been dream.possible. We can demonstrate that the dream is possible. But what we want to do, and our ambition now with the Institute, is really to make the dream become a reality. We are a kind of co-producer. We are producing disruptive innovation that can impact society, but using 3 things which are very important for us, which is art, mixing art, science, and technology in the scope of culture, education, research. And our actions is to challenge, to co-create, to preserve and share, to challenge the statu quo. Why an architect cannot have a theory about pyramids? Why a B2B company cannot do something and try to innovate in the Egyptological field? Why? How to preserve our memory, how to share this memory, how to invent new kind of usage for this technology. And this is not sponsoring. Doing those cultural projects are really key to generate new kind of innovation that then can be applied to our traditional business. That's why I'm saying that culture is not for fun. Culture is strategical for a B2B company too. So in 2005 we had the sponsorship program. In 2008 we launched what we call the co-production, the co-innovation strategy, working with people like Luc Besson, the movie maker. We set up at this time a partnership with Luc Besson around his movie, The Minimoys, this movie, and seeing how we can change the way we do films, how we can change the way to create interaction between the general public and the movies, how the general public can become a producer of their own films, etc. So, and it was for us a way, working with Luc Besson, to generate innovation. So we are also looking for new disruptive business models, to also working on ethical and social values. And as I told you, we work on culture, education, and research. What we have discovered is that working on those cultural projects is very important because for a scientific company it's very important to work like the creative industries, because in the creative industries there is a one word that is very important, the word is intuition. When you are scientific, it's very hard to talk to people, to scientific people about intuition, but when you work on a cultural project, when you work in the creative industries, you always mix intuition and scientific disciplines. You always mix a lot of things coming from different kind of worlds. And this is what we are pushing in this company. My team is pushing, is saying that intuition is really important. At the beginning of any kind of innovation, there is intuition, there is something magic. But intuition is not magic like this, because you have learned a lot of things, and because you have a very important background. But you have to be confident in your intuition. And then when you have the right tools, when you mix this with a scientific approach, then you create the innovation. And it's really important to be also to look at your imagination. It's really important to look at the dreams that you had when you were kids. And the first, when people ask us how Passion for Innovation Institute is choosing this project, we say it's because we've met someone and we wanted to do something, and we have a different DNA and we want to do a baby together. And you don't know sometimes why you want to do a baby, you want to marry with these people instead of other people. And in the PowerPoint, in the strategy, it's very hard to explain that intuition is really important. But the check that we have at Dassault Systèmes is that intuition is almost important than the scientific approach. And we can say, okay, we want to work on this project, we want to explore, maybe we are going to fail, but failure is important. If Jean-Pierre Houdin is failing, if Jean-Pierre Houdin is wrong, it's not a problem. You will help the people who came after, and we have the right theory. What is important is the action. Passion for Innovation Institute is not a think tank, it's a do tank. We want to be in the action, because it's from the experience, and then we can generate theory. So we have a lot of people thinking a lot. We are in the action, we are in the field, we are trying things, and it's very nice to try those things in this culture, education, and research field. So we have a lot of projects, as you've seen, about patrimony, Egypt, culture. Today we are going to talk about the patrimony project, which is the D-Day project, how we preserve the industrial patrimony, how we preserve our memory about this. But in Passion for Innovation, we are, as I told you, we love crazy ideas. And just after the Khufu Pyramid project with Jean-Pierre Houdin, we met with a guy called Georges Mougin, who is now almost 19 years old, who was trying for 40 years to convince people that we can use icebergs to solve water problems in the world. You know that in maybe 20 years there will be more and more problems about water in the world, and we have to find solutions. I'm not saying that Georges Mougin's solution is the best one. I'm just saying that why this guy cannot propose a solution? Why this guy cannot simulate and try to demonstrate that maybe his solution is right? In general, the first reflex that we have is why we do this. But in fact, the question is why not? We cannot try things. So we've met George, and he explained us all his process, how we can capture iceberg, how we can prevent iceberg from melting, how we make the whole process to capture those icebergs. Because icebergs are melting in the ocean. We are losing this fresh water in the ocean. And the idea is, if we use those technologies to simulate things in the virtual world, we don't touch the real world. We try to do the mistakes in the virtual world, and this guy was considered as a crazy guy. But we love crazy guys, because if we want to solve our society problematics, I think that we need to hear more crazy people. Or I think that we will be in a big trouble. And Georges Mougin, we have a lot of respect for this guy, a 90-year-old guy, because he had ideas. He's a disruptive guy. I don't know if one day he will be able to capture an iceberg and to do it, because now he's looking for 7 million euros to do that. Today, all the water industry has invested in the desalinization factories, etc. But I think that we need, and this is our mission, to have this kind of guy. So let's see Georges Mougin and his iceberg in a short teaser.
Nature can be blindingly beautiful. It certainly is in Greenland, the largest island in the world. Greenland. with millions of tons of ice to protect, or a place with abundant fresh water for the entire world. French engineer Georges Mougin is absolutely convinced. He's advocated ferociously for this plan for 40 years. His goal, to prove conclusively that an iceberg is not merely a mountain of ice, but of water, 12,000-year-old water, probably the purest water in the world. Georges Mougin knows about icebergs. He's studied them in depth over the years, traveling to Antarctica and the Arctic by boat and hot air balloon. The more he observes them, the more his idea makes perfect sense.
The production of icebergs in the Antarctic can meet the needs of all the people on the planet.
Every year, 350 billion tons of ice break free from Greenland and melt away in the salt water of the ocean. Why not use a tiny part of what nature offers us? An iceberg. Millions of cubic meters of fresh water, but a mere drop on a world scale. Today, Georges Mougin, supported by internationally renowned glaciologists and engineers, wants to make real progress. For months, these men will work on an idea that can be summed up in one sentence. Take an iceberg from the coast of Canada and tow it across the Atlantic before it melts.
It will be possible to find a suitable iceberg.
With the help of revolutionary simulation software, the journey of a virtual iceberg can be modeled in 3D and analyzed. It's never been done before. Using an iceberg for water. Is this a dream, a utopia, or is it within the realm of possibility?
So the fundamentals of our projects are really simple. We need to be a legitimate player. We are not here to do sponsoring. If the question is, do the crazy project, do the passionate project needs our help, needs our engineers, is there a new challenge for us? Because we are not here to do every time the same things. Is there a new challenge for our technology? That's why we act like kind of co-producer. We bring our values, we bring our know-how, we bring our technology, and the people in front of us bring also the know-how, the technology, etc. We try to mix those things to generate innovations. Naturally, because we need those strategic partnerships, because Dassault Systèmes has no legitimacy to talk about Egyptology if we don't have now Peter de Manuelian. We have no legitimacy to talk about contemporary dance if we don't work with the ballet dancer Michael Pietragala, which is another project that we've done in the contemporary dance, for example. And that is how we share this, how we share this passion, how we share this energy and those projects. And the main idea is really about transdisciplinarity. The world now is breaking into silos. We have all the scientifics in their silos, all the people in their silos, and we need now, if we want to generate this kind of new renaissance, to generate new innovation, we need to break those silos and we need to make people collaborating together. I have a project, I have no presentation about this project, but just to give you an example, we are working on cancer research, breast cancer research. The idea with the cancer research specialists is to see how we can use, for example, a software that is used in the automotive industry to detect the failure of an engine, to see if these tools can be used to analyze DNA for cancer research. This is the kind of idea we do. Taking something from one place to putting it in another place and seeing if it generates innovation or not, and doing research like this. So this project is, and this way to do experiential strategies through passion for innovation is really to generate a transversal approach. How all the people in the company can, for one project, help us, can give us their energy, can give us their passion, and can contribute to the project. For the D-Day project, we had not only people from Passion for Innovation collaborating on that, but we've put a post on our intranet asking if we had people passionate by the World War II, by industrial patrimony, and if they want to help us to contribute on this project, and they joined the team for 1 year to work on this D-Day project. And naturally, externally, it helps us to extend our network of competency, our network of partnerships with institutions, universities, museums, etc. So the only way I found to describe what we are doing in Passion for Innovation is saying that we are working a kind like a publisher, I say. We had some collection, we have some pilot projects. The Khufu project was a pilot project. It helped us to understand how our tools and our know-how can be applied to architectural patrimony. And with the know-how that we had, we then developed a lot of projects in architectural heritage, telling the story of Paris. And we are going to make a tour, putting the 3D glasses in the old time of Paris, just after. Working on Giza 3D as you've seen, and working on other projects. We worked on some project about industrial heritage. The pilot project was around a cartoon made by Françoise Kuyten, a Belgian artist. And it was the first time we asked ourselves how we can understand an industrial object where we don't have any blueprint, where we don't have a lot of information, and what kind of know-how we need to develop to make reverse engineering on those kind of industrial problematics. And we had at the same time also a project about how we can revolutionize undersea archaeology. How with our tool we can bring new tools for very deep shrunken things in the water, because how we can create new kind of simulation, how we can help archaeologists in undersea archaeology. And the D-Day project, in fact, is the mix of the two competencies and the know-how that we have learned from the project La Douce and from the project Opération Lune, because it's a mix. We have things that are happening underwater with underwater archaeology, but also how we can preserve, how we can understand all of those innovations. We had project also how to see how we can use drones, for example, to protect the elephants in Cameroon. You see the project about the Ice Dream and the Iceberg project. We worked on a black hole. See, we are working with the CNRS in France on black hole simulator. We have project also in health. For example, maybe just after in our virtual reality center, you will be able to try the Sensitivity project, which is how we can create a simulator to experience what is an eye disease, to understand what people feel, what kind of experience they have when they have an eye disease, and what we have to do in their interiors, in their room, in their home, to help them to have a better life. Here you have Fabrice André working for the Institut Gustave Roussy, the project about cancer. So we have a big collection of projects in different aspects. We are always working with the pilot, so we have a lot of pilots that I'm not talking about because sometimes we fail. Sometimes we are not able to come to a conclusion, so we abandon the project. But when we understand something, when we learn something, then we try to replicate, but every time by adding new kind of challenge. Another crazy project is the sculpture one. I'm not going to tell you a lot about this project, but the idea is how to mix space and art, how to send something in the space, and I think that we are going to reveal this project maybe in one year. We had also, I told you about a project about contemporary dance, how we can use our technology to change the way we do scenography for dance, how we can create interaction between the dancer and the scene, and this project has been released in June last year, and now is on tour with Marie-Claude Pietragala. I'm going to just show you a short teaser about this project with Pietragala. For lunch, and at the end of the lunch we said, okay, we need to do a baby together. She was with her husband, Julien, so we need to do a creative baby together to invent something new around Eugène UNESCO world and how we can transform, how we can use virtual reality to really change the way we look at the show, at a dance show. The music is from Laurent Garnier. So just before jumping to the D-Day, sorry, I want you to make a little trip in Paris. So we are going to put our 3D glasses. We are going to discover how Paris has been built. So this is like this 3D. It's a long-term project. That means that each year we are adding new monuments about Paris, and we want this digital mock-up of Paris during the time to be the reference for archaeologists, for people, for schools, if they want to learn about the history of Paris and its construction. It was the first time that we made a big show for the general public. We have transformed the City Hall of Paris into the biggest virtual reality center of the world, doing a live show for 50,000 people coming for free, discovering the history of Paris, having the director of the Carnavalet Museum, which is the museum dedicated to Paris history, and he was teaching all the crowd the history of Paris, jumping from the Gallic Roman period to the construction of Notre-Dame de Paris until the Universal Expo, where I'm going to bring you. So Nicolas Serikov is over there in the technical room. He is manipulating his computer, and he will bring us to this period lively. And can, so Nicolas, if you want to switch to the
Ok,
Paris,
on peut switcher, s'il vous plaît, pardon. Hi.
So you can put the 3D glasses on, and if you can switch off the light of the stage, please.
So do you hear me?
Oui, c'est bon.
Okay, perfect. So we are back in times to the whole Paris, and actually we are at the end of the 19th century, just at the opening of the World's Fair of 1889. And this World Fair is very famous for French people because it's the one when Gustave Eiffel built the Eiffel Tower, and in fact it's the only remains that we have from this World Fair. And the very interesting thing is not that we have recreated the Eiffel Tower that still exists, but we recreate also all the World Fair, all the exhibition hall that you can see now just under our feet. And actually, this building doesn't exist anymore. This is the park, it's a garden, it's called the Champ de Mars, it's just in front of the Eiffel Tower, but it's completely empty, and it's very interesting to see the kind of building they built. It's full of color, and for that we work from black and white pictures, original pictures of the World's Fair, but for having the information about the color and all the materials that were used, we add the guide of the World's Fair, the guidebook for the World Fair, with a lot of drawings which give us the information of colors and how the building was more precisely designed. So, for instance,
Nicolas, the first time I'm seeing this dog, can we follow him, please? I've never seen it.
Just in front of us is one of
You
the
don't hear me, Nicolas.
fontaine
I don't.
that doesn't exist, and this one was used every day, every night at the closing of the exhibition hall. It was used for a kind of show with light into the water, light and music. And there is a second fontaine under the feet of the Eiffel Tower. both sides you can see the exhibition halls, the different exhibition halls. Some are used for art, architecture, sculpture, and the smallest one, for instance, are more specific exhibit hall or building, depending of a country. Each country could had the opportunity to pay the construction of his own pavilion to be represented and to show to everyone, to all the visitor, to show to the visitors the specification of their country or of their industry. And I will just take a closer look on the Eiffel Tower. So it's quite the same today. You can recognize perhaps some of the name of the famous engineer and scientific of the 19th century. So those names are still on the Eiffel Tower, but of course it's very difficult. Normally visitors can't read this because when you go on the first floor, the names are just below your feet. So probably for the first time you can discover those names, and just going to the second floor and finish with another view. In the background you can see what will be the Trocadero. You can see the two elevators inside the Eiffel Tower, and we just finished with going on the level here. And in front of you is a big building. The round one is called the Central Dome. It was the main entrance for all the small exhibit hall, just at its back, under the glass and steel exhibition hall.
Thank you, Nicolas, if you can hear me.
Thanks to you.
If we can switch to the PowerPoint. So naturally, all of this content is available for free online on paris-3ds.com. It's available on iPad, and each year we are enriching it. This year, for example, we are working on the Sainte-Chapelle, the history of the Sainte-Chapelle, and each year we are adding from one to two monuments. You can understand that what is really difficult in this kind of project is really the interaction that we had with the archaeologists, with the people, because we are asking them new kind of question, how we can represent this, do you have some documents about this? And sometimes they don't have the answer, they have to look back at their archives, at their documents, etc. So it's really the scientific interaction that we have with them, which is really important. Then, at the end, we have the final 3D visualization, which is the experience that we share then with the general public. But all the scientific aspect is very, very, very important. So this year, and that's why you are here today with us, we decided to give an homage, a tribute to the engineers of the past. Because Dassault Systèmes today, with all the industries that we are working with, is producing all the digital industrial patrimony of tomorrow. The question that we can ask ourselves and our customer can ask themselves is, what will happen in 100 years or 200 years when people will rediscover digital files, opening the digital files of a plane, of a car, will be able to open it, will be able to read it, to understand all the industrial patrimony that we are producing at this time. This is a very important question about how we preserve digital memories. It's not only for our purpose, but it's for all the digital purpose. What will happen to all the information that we are we are putting online, that we are sharing digitally, what will happen in the next 100 and more years. But the other question is what we do with the industrial patrimony that we have from the past. Are we able to understand this industrial patrimony? Are we able to understand the blueprint? For example, engineers getting out of school today, a lot of them are not able to read a blueprint as their fathers or people before were able to understand a blueprint. And so we began to ask ourselves, with the know-how that we acquired with the project Ladouce, if we had some things about the D-Day, where were the blueprints, what were the innovations that made this very important day happening. And to be honest, at the beginning, we saw that we can redo in 3D, reconstitute in 3D, a lot of things about what happened in the D-Day. But very, very, very fast, we noticed that it was very, very hard to find again the blueprints. Even when we found those blueprints, we noticed that they were not readable because the process of preservation when they digitized those blueprints was not good. So we lost a lot of information in the blueprint. So at the beginning we said, to give this homage, we are going to rebuild a lot of things, to understand a lot of things. And at the end, just for the LCVP, the harbor, and the WACO, it took us a long, long time. So the idea now is not to finish the project now, this year, for the 70th anniversary, but like for Giza 3D and for Paris 3D, is slowly but slowly continuing to enrich and continuing to understand and to preserve the memory of the D-Day. Because there were a lot of innovation that have been done for this special moment. It was a hard moment, and people we needed to do innovation in a very fast time and to solve problems in a very, very, very fast time. And it was, for me, harder to redo what we've done on the D-Day than to rebuild the pyramid, even if the pyramid was built 4,000 years ago. So we had to invent a lot of ways to understand the things, to ask questions, to do laser scans, to mix all kinds of sources, to be able to give this homage, this tribute to the engineers of the past, because the D-Day was also the day of the engineers. It was not only about soldiers, but we had a supply chain, we had to organize a lot of things, we had to set up this harbor. And if you go today to Normandy, you won't find a lot of things that are understandable. You will find some small things, some blogs, some things, but we are not able to have an overview about this. So we decided to work also on the harbor, on the mulberry, and to give to the general public, but also to the scientific and all the community, a virtual world where they will be able to travel to understand how this harbor was built and how it looks like at this time. So, to talk about the D-Day project, I will invite Nicolas Sirikov with me on stage. Nicolas, if you can come. Nicolas was the project manager of the D-Day. He was harmonizing all the team. He was living a lot of nightmares to find things and to go back in USA to find the blueprints, to go on microfilm. So it was a big challenge for Nicolas. And as I told you, this story is also about underwater archaeology story, because we had the opportunity to join a scientific mission, which was their goal was to scan the whole bay of the Seine Bay to understand what is still underwater, and what is still underwater is disappearing. 7 years after, you will see in the video, all of this cemetery, which is underwater, is slowly disappearing because we are not very deep in the water. We are not protected by sand and things. So all of this patrimony is slowly disappearing. So maybe in 70 years old, there will be nothing remaining underwater. And for the two things that we work on, the LCVP and the WACO, because they have been made in wood, we have no more those objects today. And they were key for the victory. So, Nicolas.
Thank you, Mehdi. Thank you, Mehdi. I will just switch to my presentation, but maybe we can start with the trailer, with the teaser of the movies.
Yeah, because part of the story and what we have done on this project is today featured in one TV documentary that is going to be broadcasted worldwide by the end of this month and beginning of June, before the 6th of June.
You are about to striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you.
It took 3 years to organize. It required absolute secrecy. It changed the course of history. In a single day, on June the 6th, 1944, 5,000 ships and 200,000 Allied troops stormed the beaches of Normandy. The greatest invasion of all time. D-Day. A story we all know, yet there is another story, unexplored, barely meters from the shore. For the very first time, a team of international experts, divers and archaeologists, discoverers of the Titanic, will dive in this huge marine graveyard. Accompanied by veterans, they will reveal the behind-the-scenes story of one of the most unknown engineering quests, Operation Neptune. What really happened on this day? How was it made possible? Today's technology enables us to divulge the secrets of this marine cemetery. From floating tanks to Mulberry Harbour, shedding a new light on over 200 wrecks. Beyond D-Day's amazing human adventure lies the outstanding accomplishment of brilliant engineers. And to discover their secrets, a team of engineers is investigating. 3D graphics and simulation will enable them to recover the long-forgotten knowledge behind these inventions that changed the course of history. A world created barely 70 years ago that state-of-the-art technology can now help understand and preserve. Revealing the genius of these forgotten heroes, inventors and soldiers working together towards a common cause. They invented D-Day and made history.
Oh my goodness.
Good luck, and let us all beseech the blessing of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking. You are about to embark upon the...
I love this trailer because